keynote speaker, and members of the panel, slim management team, and ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor to share a few thoughts. And having been very recently involved in developing a 5-year plan for Malaysia, which was the 2016-2020 plan, and having pretty much been involved in building strategies internationally, I want to share a few thoughts with every one of you. To start with, I want to build on 3 points that the keynote speaker made. He said Sri Lanka has been independent for 71 years and probably will yet be where we are, probably in 100 years if we don't do something different. Number 2, he talked about the geographic location of Sri Lanka, which is bringing about all the geopolitical challenges that Sri Lanka is currently faced with. Interestingly, that's the subject I teach at INSEAD in our Aspiring Directors program. Thirdly, export. You said, we've got to be an exporting nation. So I want to build on those 3 issues. What I want to do today, I'm also very proud to sit next to the gentleman who has set up LAFS, because I think he has been able to build a brand for Sri Lanka on a global, regional level. And if you think about it as marketers and business leaders sitting around here, how many Sri Lankan brands do we have 71 years after independence, which we can stand in an audience and say, these are global brands? How many brands can we be able to say that? After we talk about Dilma, after we probably talk about Camo Lodestar, which is probably the world leader in solid rubber tires, and after we talk about LAFS now, we'll be struggling to name brands. So our marketing fraternity needs to ask the question, what have we been doing in terms of building world-class brands in the global market? If Sri Lanka is to come out of a debt trap, if Sri Lanka is going to be a nation that is truly playing in the global economy, then we can't be playing in the global economy by being at the lowest end of the value chain and being commodity exporters. And I think the first problem Sri Lanka has is that we have a commodity mindset and we have a commodity pricing mindset, and as a result, we don't have a true strategy to take Sri Lanka to be a player on a global platform. So I want to leave all of you with 3 ideas which I think are a little different in terms of how Sri Lanka can ignite its wealth creation strategically, because I have come to the conclusion that great strategies are not in 50-page documents, but in 1 sheet of paper with the 5 bullet points. So what are these 3 strategies? These 3 strategies have all to do with 3 natural capital opportunities that Sri Lanka has always had from its inception, which I don't think Sri Lanka has leveraged strategically. So what do I mean by natural capital? These are blessings that have been given to this nation with no one in the nation having to do anything about it. So first I want to talk about 3 natural capitals that we have under-leveraged and 2 conditions on how to do this. So what are the 3 capitals? The first capital we have is our geographic location. And if we don't realize that we are sitting on the gateway to Africa and the gateway to Latin America in the China One Belt, One Road path, we are missing probably the biggest opportunity for Sri Lanka in the future. Because there are 66 countries in the China One Belt, One Road strategy. Sri Lanka is probably the most pivotal country in terms of its sea route, which is taking 80% of all global trade is in the sea route, and we are located as a gateway to Africa and a gateway to Latin America. So the first natural capital that we have always had, that we have, I think, never really strategically leveraged, is the geographic location, and now the China One Belt, One Road strategy. Now, when we talk about the China One Belt One Road strategy, we can either become the petrol station for all the ships that are going to pass Sri Lanka, or we can become a manufacturing hub for the China One Belt One Road to take stuff from Sri Lanka and start moving it into the Africas and the Latin Americas. And I'm saying become a brand manufacturer for Sri Lanka using the free trade zone that's coming up, but we have to leverage China One Belt One Road. Number one. The second and the third strategy stems from my time as the first CEO of the Sri Lanka Institute of Nanotechnology. And I'm very happy to say that, Mr. Wikipedia, you helped us set up a nano titanium plant in Sri Lanka. During those 3 to 4 years that I led the institute, I looked at the two amazing natural minerals that Sri Lanka is blessed with, and just like everything else that Sri Lanka has, we have been very happy to export this in gunny bags at gunny bag prices. What are these two amazing natural resources? And the reason I'm talking about these natural resources today is because at that time I could sense what an amazing opportunity these two natural resources posed and gave Sri Lanka if only we could put our mind to value adding to those two natural resources. What are these two natural resources? Number one, titanium. Sri Lanka is blessed with the world's purest titanium, which is, when purified, is 73.8% pure. And if you look at all the other titanium manufacturing countries of the world, including South Africa, including America, and including Australia, you'll find that their purity level is under 40%. Titanium is a base ingredient in so many industries. Now we can send all our titanium in gunny bags to Japan and get $200 per ton, or we can purify this ilmenite and turn it into titanium and earn $2,000 per ton, or we can turn it into nano titanium and earn $25,000 per ton. During my time at Slitec, I made a proposal to the country to set up a titanium processing plant, and that was rejected at that time, saying our main priority is to set up roads. I said, if we set this plant up, we can have a highway from Jaffna to Mathura, because our per capita income will increase. The third item on the natural capital is graphite. Sri Lanka has the world's purest graphite at 93.8% purity, and there isn't one nation in the planet which has such pure graphite. So I'm going to talk about one application of graphite that I am totally passionate about, and that is that today with graphite you can create graphene sheets, and graphene is now one of the most important ingredients in the desalination of water. And you know the world is facing a water crisis. Right up there in India, we have 41% of Indians now facing massive water scarcity. And when I think about geopolitical security, I'll tell you the country which has the water is going to be under a lot of stress. And that is a blessing that this nation has always had. But we can begin to use our graphite, and we can begin to build desalination opportunities using that graphite. And there are two nations that are ahead of the game on this. One is Israel, one is Japan. Israel will not give that technology out, but Japan will. And there's also in the UK, the graphene center that can also work with us. So these, to me, are the three strategy levers that Sri Lanka should build on. China One Belt One Road, graphite, titanium. Now I said there are two conditions. The first condition is we must develop a strategy of joint venture partnerships, one for technology transfer and one for commercialization. If we don't have strategies for technology transfer and commercialization, what will happen is we will continue to send our stuff in gunny bags. So that is the first condition. We can either have 100% of all our graphite and keep exporting it, getting peanut prices, or we can add value with the a joint venture partner and become much more value adding in terms of maybe 20% of a much bigger project. The second condition is that we must understand that sustainability is no longer an option, and climate change and climate emergencies are no longer stuff that you and I can ignore. In fact, the Pentagon Army Commander, in their most recent report, says the biggest risk to America's defenses and security strategy is climate change. Because today climate change is beginning to wipe out a lot of the security bases and where they are located. So climate, we must understand we have to be committed to sustainability. Now, I want to leave you with one thought about sustainability, just to illustrate how far off we are on that simple subject. In December 2015, Sri Lanka signed to the Paris Agreement and made two commitments at the Paris Agreement. Number one was that 60% of all the energy resourced in Sri Lanka will be from renewable energy sources by 2020, which is next year. He made a second commitment that by 2030, we'll have 80% of our energy from renewable energy sources. I've been listening and reading the papers the last couple of days since I came back, about a week or two back, and I see we are not simply going to miss that target, we are going to absolutely be the second nation on the planet to be told leave the Paris Agreement, because we, from going 80% renewable and 20% fossil fuels, we are looking having a plan that gets us to 80% fossil fuel and 20% renewable. That is how far off we are the target, ladies and gentlemen. These are my thoughts. 3 natural capitals to leverage, 2 conditions to do that. Thank you.